Hello, everyone. I am Francesco Potorti. I am the chair of the IPIN competition. I am introducing you to the Navigation Journal, which is the sponsor of this year's edition. Now we have the Navigation Journal presentation.
Thank you, and good afternoon. Now, I'm from the editorial office of the new journal, Satellite Navigation. Now, I give a brief introduction of the journal, Satellite Navigation. Satellite Navigation published research into PNT, positioning, navigation, and tunneling. It was born with the new development of global satellite navigation technologies, as well as the increasing achievements of scientific research in related fields. Our journal was launched in 2020 with the purpose of building a platform of academic exchange widely recognized by scientists across the world. Since then, the international impact of the journal has been growing rapidly. It was included in ESCI in 2021 and in EI and Scopus consecutively in March and April of 2022. By far, our journal rivals most Q1 journals of the same field in the Web of Science database on all indicators. SANA was included in ESCI in 2021, which also marked the first year for the journal to be included in Journal Citation Reports, or JCR. Based on the 2021 JCR ranking released by Web of Science at the end of June this year, the impact factor of articles published in our journal in 2020 was higher than the global average of 1.0. Making it a Q1 journal in all its fields. It ranked the second among 50 list journals on aerospace engineering, the fourth among 57 journals on remote sensing, and 11th among 116 journals on telecommunication, indicating that articles published in our journal have good quality and spread timely, which help it earn reputation among domestic and foreign academic periods. Meanwhile, according to the statistics of Springer, our website has published articles. Those articles were downloaded more than 100,000 times in 2022 alone. Our founding authors come from 14 countries, who have published renowned papers attracting the attention of scholars across the world. The SCI citations mainly come from 46 countries. As of August 12, a total of 125 journals contributed to 596 SCI citations. The editor-in-chief of the journal is academician Yang Yuanxi, who is also the deputy chief designer of the Beidou Navigation Satellite System, or BDS. The executive editor-in-chief is Professor Jing Shuanggen. The journal's international editorial board and the expert team are organized based on 5 major areas. Multi-source navigation is a very important one, which is proud to have Professor Chen Ruizhi, a globally renowned scholar on indoor navigation and the associate editor of our journal. The editorial board consists of more than 40 world-famous experts from 16 countries and regions, including academicians from China and foreign academicians. We are planning special issues on hot topics, and our editorial board members will serve as guest editors. In multi-source navigation, we have a special issue on indoor navigation, which is calling for papers right now. Among the articles already published there was a review called Indoor Navigation, State of the Art and Future Trends, co-authored by Professor from Canada University of Calgary and Professor Liu from China Wuhan University, which has generated nearly 10,000 downloads and more than 20 citations since it was put online in May 2021. High-quality articles also get extensive publicity. We have targeted approach. For readers in China, we have a WeChat official account with over 5,000. We invite periods in the field to translate the highlights into Chinese. Once the articles are put online, we will introduce the authors and highlights of the articles in Chinese to all Chinese professional readers. We also strive for target publicity in foreign markets. For example, comprehensive assessment of real-time precise products from IGS analysis centers. An article recently published by Professor Li Bofeng from China Tongji University in our journal was promoted on Twitter by the International GNSS Service Organization. As a manager editor, I provide a one-on-one service to authors as soon as the initial review result comes out, including reminding them to check the system, provide instructions, and encourage them to contact me for any problem. We treat every contribution sincerely and are determined to become a good journal for scholars. We sincerely welcome your contribution and attention. And we have prepared a 2-minute publicity video to help you know better about the journal. Thank you.
Today, different satellite navigation systems are operating in space, continue to develop and improve, providing an important foundation for integrated applications of multi-satellite navigation. Looking to the future, we face both challenges and many new opportunities. In 2020, with the new advancements in satellite navigation technologies and continued growth in the output of scientific research, the international journal Satellite Navigation was born. Founded by Aerospace Information Research Institute of Chinese Academy of Sciences, it's supported by Academic Exchange Center of China Satellite Navigation Office and published by the world-renowned publisher Springer Nature. The journal aims to become an international flagship journal in the field of satellite navigation, disseminate the latest results and different academic views, and promote the development of satellite navigation theories, technologies, and applications. Academician Yang Yuanxi, Editor-in-Chief, Professor Jin Shuanggin, Executive Editor-in-Chief. The high-level International Editorial Board is made up of more than 40 internationally renowned scientists, including a number of designers of satellite navigation systems. Satellite navigation reports on high-level global scientific research results in satellite navigation and related fields, publishes a wide range of articles. It was indexed in EI, Scopus, ESCI, and DOAJ in the beginning stage of its establishment. Satellite navigation adheres to the highest standards of scientific integrity and publication ethics. We provide an international-friendly paper submission and review platform featuring fast and high-level peer review, professional and meticulous editorial services. By offering the open access journal with no publication charges, we are committed to rapid dissemination of the journal around the globe and sincerely invite experts and scholars from home and abroad to actively submit papers. We look forward to your contributions.
Hi. So thanks to our sponsor, the Satellite Navigation Journal, we are now presenting a quick and rich set of presentations from the IPIN competition. First, I will speak about the IPIN competition, then I will pass the word to all track chairs and winners. So this is the 9th edition of the IPIN competition. We started in 2014. This year we only had off-site tracks because of the pandemics. And this is the second time we have a conference with only on-site, off-site tracks. We also in 2020 we only had off-site tracks, but there was no conference. The number of competitors is increasing, and this is good. What is the off-site track we are doing this year? That is, traditionally, we had an off-site tracks made by measuring the sensors data on the field and sending all the measurements to competitors. The problem with this method was that competitors had all data together and tended to treat it as a problem of global optimization. So in the past year, in the last years, when we used these methods, we had quite unrealistic good results from off-site competitions. So we tried to use a new method, a method that was forcing competitors to work in a causal way and with a real-time attitude. That is, we have a streaming service essentially that sends sensors data in emulated real time. and competitors provide their estimates in the same emulated real time. So they cannot look in the future. They must provide the results in a limited time, so there is no time for post-processing, and they cannot retry, exactly as it happens in on-site competitions. It is quite easy to use the interface, that is just a single call essentially, where you ask for data and provide your estimate. So what happened this year? Track 2, that was traditionally on-site, this year went off-site, and in fact, its results were comparable to on-site results of 2019. This is an indication that our method of emulating the real time is working. This is also what happened in 2021 for tracks 3 and 4. They had similar results to on-site tracks. However, this year we had worse results. Maybe the competition was more difficult. Maybe competitors did not take it so seriously, or many of them. That is, we saw many competitors who started working on the data just a few days before the competition. We should analyze the data to understand why we had so bad results for tracks 3 and 4. Results of track 7 were comparable to last year's, when we did not use the streaming data service, but were more realistic. That is, we had 2 good data in 2021, and we have more realistic data this year. The results of other tracks look realistic too, even if we don't have direct comparison. So overall, the idea of using an emulated off-site track method with a streaming server looks good. Competitors seem to appreciate it. We have results that look realistic. That is, this method looks more scientific sound of what we have used in the past. Next year, we will set some milestones to make competitors well aware of the difficulties of this challenging method. Okay, thank you for listening. I will pass now the word to Track 2 Chair. So, Jon?
Good afternoon. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good afternoon. I will present a brief summary of IPIN competition track 2. In track 2, we focused on image-based positioning for pedestrians. Given monocular camera images taken by an off-the-shelf smartphone as input, we seek to obtain timely and reliable estimations of the user's position. This is the building where we collected training and testing data with some sample images shown below. The data in track 2 were from 2 sites, A and B. For site A, we selected the 3rd floor of the building. These data were used for practice before the competition. The training data trajectories are in green and the testing trials are in red on the left figure. For site B, used in the competition, we chose floor 1 and 2. Again, the training data trajectories are in green. The prepared scoring trials are in yellow and red. With the red ones are the scoring trials actually using for evaluation. Some details about the data are shown here. I will comment on the actual data used in the 2 competition days. The training data included 4 trajectories per floor. They represent combinations of inner and outer loops in clockwise and counterclockwise directions. These data were released to the competitors 36 hours before the scoring trials that were held on the 2nd of September. The scoring trials are 170 and 136 meters long and include 80 and 64 reference points correspondingly. The 2 teams completed trial 1 in the morning and trial 2 in the afternoon. On the top right, we see sequences of images from the training data and from a scoring trial. For training data from recorded video, we extracted images at 30 frames per second and annotated them with user's position and orientation. For scoring trials, we extracted frames from testing trajectory videos at 3 frames per second and annotated them in a similar manner. Then, from image positions, we selected reference points that are more than 2 meters and less than 5 meters apart, measured along the trajectory. On the left, there is a sequence diagram of the client-server interaction during a scoring trial. From the top, we have a login, then a trial initialization. When a client starts a trial, it receives the first image. Then, a request for the next image should provide position estimation for the previous image. Otherwise, the trial is stopped. This ensures causality. So upon a successful finish in the practice period, we returned position errors for all the images and 75th percentile error computed only for the reference points. In the scoring trials, we returned empty result. The main round trip time per sample during the scoring trial was about 6 seconds, which put a limit of the scoring trial length possible to finish in the assigned time slots. 2 teams completed the scoring trial successfully. Team 1 from Shenzhen University and Team 2 from Beijing University of Post and Telecommunications and Chinese Academy of Sciences. Here in second place is the team from Shenzhen University with a result of 3.2 meters. And in first place is the team from Beijing University of Post and Telecommunications and Chinese Academy of Sciences with a result 2.1 meters. The sample error distribution from the best trials for each team is shown on the left, while the estimated position of the best scoring trial are shown on the right. Here, I would like to congratulate both teams and thank them and the IPIN organizers for making this event possible. May I ask how to continue later with the prize awarding? Shall I show the certificates or?
Can you turn on your
Yes.
camera?
Yes, please. The winner turn on their camera so they.
Okay.
And also, please, Dongyan. Okay.
Yeah, Francisco, I will show the medal here.
Yeah.
Okay.
The winner team.
This is the winner team.
Hi, track chairs. I'm Yu Chen. I'm a member of Team Camlock.
Okay.
Congratulations. So this is the certificate of achievement from Team Camlock.
Shall we begin our presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
Okay.
Thank you, the track chair. And let's go to the winner's presentation.
It seems that you should quit your screen sharing, and I can share my screen. Can you hear my voice and see the slide?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, let's begin. Hello, everyone. I'm Yuqi Chen, a member of Team Camelot. We are from Beijing University of Posts and Telecommunications and Institute of Computing Technology, Chinese Academy of Sciences. It's a pleasure to participate in the Track 2 competition. Here, I will introduce the method we use in the competition. First, I think it's necessary to mention the preliminary research we did. Before the competition, we investigate 4 types of method of visual localization. The first type of method is structure from motion. Structure from motion build a 3D map with given images, and then we can use PNP method to get an absolute pose. But I think it's time-consuming to build and adjust a 3D map, and it's also hard to handle the scenario that never appear in training set. As for the second types of method is pose regression. Pose regression directly regress the pose with CNN or other neural network. It is also time-consuming to train and adjust the network, and it also has the generalized problem. Image retrieval calculates the similarity score between query images and the images in database. And I think it's hard to handle the scenarios that never appear in database. So there still remain a generalized problem. And the last method is visual odometry. Visual odometry uses epipolar geometry to inference pose frame by frame. Visual odometry has no generalized problem, but it also has its own problem. For example, visual odometry need an initial pose, and it's always based on camera coordinate, not the world coordinate. And most importantly, visual odometry always has a drifting problem caused by the accumulated error. So to sum up all the above arguments, we combine image retrieval method and the visual odometry. Here is the overall process of our system. First, we extract the descriptor for each image in training set, which build a descriptor dataset, the database. Once the first image is coming, we find out the most similar image in database, and we use its ground truth as the current image's position and orientation. For the following n frames, we inference their position and orientation frame. We inference their position and orientation frame by frame with epipolar geometry. The process of epipolar geometry incorporates feature extraction, feature matching, and pose estimation with Ransack algorithm. The pose coordinate will be converted to world coordinate system. Since visual odometry always has a drifting problem caused by accumulated error, we relocalize every n frames with image retrieval. If the similarity score of image retrieval is too low, then we think we receive an image that never appeared in database. Then we continue to inference for the next n frame. I remember inside a test site, the staff enter a path to work outside, which never presented in the training set. If we keep use image retrieval method, there might be a pretty large error. But with visual odometry, we can continue inference in a relatively low error condition. Here is some visualization of our technical approach. On the left, the image visualizes the process of feature extraction and matching between the neighbor images. On the top right, we can see an obvious drifting problem of visual odometry. Then we relocalize with image retrieval, and it alleviates the problem, just as the image shown on the bottom right. Since visual odometry use camera coordinate system, a coordinate conversion need to be done here. We first convert the LLA, which represent longitude, latitude, and altitude coordinate to ENU coordinate, which represent east, north, and up. with below equations. Then we convert the camera coordinate to ENU coordinate because, then we convert the camera coordinate to ENU coordinate because ENU coordinate is more convenient for trajectory prediction. And there still remains one problem. The monocular visual odometry has no scale information. So we roughly estimate the scale factor based on the ground truth in training set. During the test, we use 4.5 as our scale factor, which means one unit in camera coordinate system is equals to 4.5 unit in ENU coordinate system. Here I introduce our computation setup. For the image retrieval module, we use patch-net valid model. For the feature extraction module, we use superpoint. For the feature matching module, we use superglue model. They are all the state-of-the-art method in image retrieval and image matching. For the image retrieval interval, the n value, we relocalize every 30 frames on the test set. If the similarity score lower than 150, we think it's an unexpected image. By the way, the upper bound of similarity score is 1,850. In order to increase the image retrieval speed, we select one of every 20 images as keyframe. Here is our result on the test server. For site A, we initially used n equals to 50. We got an average 5-meter error. Then we adjust n equals to 30. The error lower to average 4 meters. Due to time reason, we didn't do our experiment on sequence 13 and 14. Maybe if we keep lower the n value, we will get a better result. For site B, we can see that the error are all within 3 meters. I think the reason is that site B doesn't involve scenario switching and there's no unexpected images. I think that's all. It's almost time. Thanks for your listening. If you have any questions, please contact me with the email address on this slide. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Now we have a few minutes of question time. I have a question. How heavy is this on the processor? That is there any difference from processing, doing all the processing you did in real time? Is it feasible? Maybe.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
Is if you run your algorithm in real time on a phone, can it be done, or it is too fast or too slow?
Oh, I get it. I think the image retrieval process time is about 1 second. If we use odometry in the whole frame by frame, and the process time is really fast. It's less than 500 0.5 seconds, and I think it can. I think it's a real-time system. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now let's go to track 3. Please, the track 3 chair. Oh, sorry. Are there any other questions from anyone? We have 1 minute. Okay, I don't see anyone raising their hands. So let's go to track 3. Please, track 3 chair, come on.
Hi, can you see my screen? Hi, Francisco, can you hear me and see my screen?
Yes, please go on. Everything is okay.
It's
This
just
is time
not in
for-
full screen, Joaquin. Sorry, it's not full screen. It's
Full screen.
yeah, presentation mode.
Oh, this one. Can you see it now, right?
Now it is full screen.
Perfect.
Can you see it or not?
Yes, it is okay.
Okay. So this is time for track 3, smartphone based off-site. This is Joaquín Torres from the University of Michigan, and I shared the track with Antonio Ramón Jiménez from the
Thank you everyone. Thank you to the track chairs.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm honored to chair this session on behalf of TPC, maybe the most exciting part of this conference. First of all, I want to introduce the selection process of best paper. In the early stage, local TPC select 6 papers among 100 papers, 100 contributions as the best paper candidates according to the comments of reviewers. In fact, this is a very difficult decision because we have many excellent papers and the reviewers have given high marks. Then we set up a special committee for best paper selection, led by Valerie and composed by 9 senior TPC members, come from 7 countries. Of course, no experts come from the Authors Institute. We made the final decision by scoring and voting, thanks to the TPC members participating in the best paper selection. In fact, the results are shown on the next slide, but I don't want to announce it so quickly. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the TPC members, reviewers, and the session chairs for their hard work. And also to the authors who submitted their contributions to our conference. Last, I want to say, this year we hold this conference totally online because of the pandemic. I didn't know how well we could do to recreate the experience of a physical conference, but we did try. We set up a physical conference hall in Beijing here, and made real certificates and gold medals for the competition winners and best paper winners. We did this to make sure everyone can feel more real. I will show the medals later. And of course, we will contact with the winners of the competitions and also the best papers and ship these things to you. Okay, I think many people can't wait anymore. Now I will announce the results. I'm gonna start with the best paper. The winner for the best paper, second runner-up of the 12th IPIN conference are the authors Sandeep Diku, Danish Gufran, and Sandeep Pasrik. I'm sorry for the pronunciation. The paper entitled Multi-Head Attention Neural Networks for Smartphone Invariant Indoor Localization. The authors come from Colorado State University, United States. Are the authors online? We will give you awards remotely.
Hello, hi. Yes, we are online.
Can you turn on your camera?
Yes. Hello. Just want to thank the organizing committee for this award. It's very motivating to see a conference that is dedicated to indoor localization. This was our first time submitting to IPIN, and it is a very good experience to work with peers that are dedicated to this area.
Okay, thank you. So I will invite the chair of this conference, Dr. Yuan Hong, to give this award.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we can take a photo. Okay, thank you. So the next, the best paper runner-up of the 12th IPIN conference. The authors are, and there are many authors here. Their paper entitled Supervised Radar Map Augmentation with Deep Learning and Generative Anniversary Network for Fingerprint-Based Indoor Positioning. They come from 3 different countries, Spain, Finland, and Portugal. Are the authors online?
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Oh, thank you to the organizer for this. It's a pleasure to be here and share with all of you experts in this field. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Yuan will give the rewards.
Just some words to Darwin's. It was Darwin work.
Yeah, we can take a photo now. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now the last one, the most important one. The winner for the best paper of the 12th IPIN conference is Haige Chen and Ostro Bacon. Sorry, they come from Georgia Institute of Technology, USA. Their paper entitled PMP-log, UWB-based plug-and-play indoor localization. Dr. Chen, are you online?
Hello, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes.
Hear me? Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, conference organizers, for this amazing award. We're definitely very privileged to receive this award. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, maybe we may wake up you very early. It's maybe 5 o'clock in USA.
Yes, yeah, but I'm excited.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Dr. Yuan will give this reward. Okay, so you will give us a presentation in real time, yes?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. No. Let's welcome Dr. Chen to give us a presentation, the best paper of this year's IPIN conference.
Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone for coming in. And thank you again, the organizers, for this amazing award. My name is Haige. I'm a 4th year PhD student at Georgia Institute of Technology. Today, let me introduce you to our work, PMP-log, the UWB-based plug-and-play indoor localization. Indoor localization sees many applications in large indoor spaces, and people are using it more for consumer applications such as navigation, recommendation, asset tracking inside large public spaces, such as museums, shopping malls, libraries, hospitals. So let's imagine a museum manager wants to quickly set up a localization system. He wants to do it in just a couple of hours, and he wants to just get some devices, and with some simple instructions, he can just turn on the devices and boom, have the localization infrastructure running. The customers can then just use their devices to localize themselves seamlessly. But deploying such a localization solution for these large indoor spaces is not a trivial task. So in this work, we ask, can we build a system that is convenient for the building managers and for the building occupants? So first, let's identify what design properties the system should have. So from the building manager's perspective, the infrastructure should be easy to deploy and maintain. That means the infrastructure node should be plug and play, and you should be able to add a few nodes without breaking the whole system. Also, the localization system should work on no matter how large the building is. From the building occupant's perspective, the localization service should be accurate and privacy preserving. So I don't want anyone else to know my location, even my presence. And also it should scale well with large number of users. So these are all the requirements that we identified for the goal that we laid out. And one class of localization system that can satisfy the scalability and privacy preserving requirement is the passive TDOA systems, where the client can localize itself without needing to transmit anything. And as you can see, as I summarize here, there are different types of passive TDOA systems. However, in general, they have at least one of these problems I listed here. So some of them require some sort of synchronization either through a wired backbone or doing wireless synchronization. That means there might be cost and communication overhead. There are synchronization-free systems, and there's one other type of system that's came up in recent years called based on concurrent ranging. But with these systems, some of them are sensitive to clock drift error, and some of them need reference anchors. So these special nodes makes large-scale deployment hard. So therefore, we argue that fundamental changes are needed in the underlying ranging protocol to satisfy the design requirement that we laid out. So first, we designed a novel passive client TDOA ranging protocol. In this protocol, more specifically, the anchor nodes can perform two-way ranging among themselves, and the client device can compute its TDOA to the other anchors just by overhearing the two-way ranging messages. This is the foundation for the other component of the paper and one of the major contribution in this paper. So before jumping into this protocol, I want to give a quick refresher on two-way ranging. So the main takeaway here is, so there are two formulations in the IEEE standard in two-way ranging. So the communication protocol is exactly the same, but the formulations are different. So the main takeaway here is that in ranging, there's something called a clock drift. So basically, the different devices, the clocks are not perfect. So the clock frequency drifts. And with this clock drift, if it's not handled correctly, there might be clock drift errors on the scale of several meters. So in the first formulation, you can see if we force dA equals dB, we can make this clock drift error negligible. However, with the second formulation, no matter how we choose the system parameters, the clock drift error is negligible. So in some sense, the second one is better than the first one. So this is one of the main inspirations for this work. So a better ranging protocol should null the clock drift error regardless of system configuration. And notice here, the second equation does not need the two devices to be synchronized or have any kind of organized timing in some sense. So in the PNP-lock TDOA protocol, we still have two anchor devices performing two-way ranging, just like before. And the tag device can overhear the three messages, and it can measure the time interval RT1, RT2 between these three messages. It can then compute the TDOA with any of these three equations. For the interest of time, I will not give you the full derivation of these equations. If you're interested, please refer to our paper. So we can also do the similar clock drift analysis like before. And so in the final form, you can see the clock drift error is a negligible quantity, and it does not depend on any system parameter. So in some sense, in other words, in this system, we take away the requirement of wireless synchronization or any sort of synchronization between the anchors in the TDOA protocol. And there's no such coordination between any of the anchor nodes on the choice of the system parameter. So in our localization, so this is an actual experiment we did. On the right-hand side, it's showing the error CDF for our TDOA protocol. So for comparison, we also did a similar experiment for a previous work that's using clock drift compensation for their TDOA. And you can see we can achieve about 12 centimeter at 90th percentile, and it's better than the other system. Okay, that's great. So with this novel TDOA protocol, we can do two-way ranging, TDOA ranging that is scalable, privacy preserving, and accurate. However, there's one other problem. So we also have these other design requirements. So how do we use the system to satisfy these other requirements? So the dilution of precision problem. Let's say, so geometrically, if we have one TDOA measurement that defines one hyperbola, if we have more TDOA measurements, then we have these more hyperbolas, and they will intersect at one common point, and that's the tag's location. This happens in the ideal world. In reality, all the measurements have noise. So instead of 3 hyperbolas, there may be 3 sets of hyperbolas that are intersecting at this region. So the solver may give any point in this intersection region as the localization result. So this is known as the dilution of precision, or DOP. And it depends on the anchor geometry. So the first question is, where should we place the anchors to avoid this problem? So we design a real-time guidance system that tells the building managers where to place the anchors. So let's see, so we did a simulation first. Suppose we have these 2 anchors first, and we need to decide whether to put the 3rd anchor at location A or location B. We did a Monte Carlo simulation on hundreds of test points, and you can see the heat map of the localization median error. And you can clearly see that geometry A is much better than geometry B. And in a DOP sense, a larger angular spacing between anchors should always yield better localization results. So, so using this heuristic, we can design the anchor deployment procedure based on forming equilateral triangles. But because of physical constraints in the real world, it may not be physically feasible to place the anchors in exact equilateral triangles. So instead, we define this acceptable region for placing the next anchor that satisfies some certain distance requirement and signal strength requirements. And we can continue this procedure to place the next anchor and the next anchor till the entire floor is covered. To allow the anchors to be dynamically added, we exploit the two-way ranger messages between the anchors. So in a steady state, they follow this kind of TDMA schedule. To allow new anchors to be added, at the end of the TDMA schedule, we have several contention slots so that newly added anchors, they can transmit in these contention slots to join the network. Okay, so I just explained why the anchor geometry is important and how we can exploit the two-way ranger messages between anchors for deploying anchors and dynamically adding new nodes to the anchor network. And there's, so this will satisfy the easy deployment and dynamic infrastructure and large coverage requirements. However, there's still one more problem. So when the client is walking, from time to time, the client device will receive messages with poor propagation conditions, causing the TDOA to be wrong. And sometimes the TDOAs may be coming from a set of anchors with poor geometry, just like what we've seen before from the DOP example. Therefore, the precision can be bad. So in PNP lock, the tag device will select the best anchor combinations and filter the results in real time to further improve the localization precision. So how do we do it? First, we throw out a TDOA with low RX power. We know that there are a lot of papers on non-line of sight mitigation methods. So those would be a great additions to this system, but in this work we simply filter based on received signal strength. So we filter out the anchor with poor signal strength, and for the remaining anchors, we look at all possible anchor combinations, and we compute the geometric DOP metric for each combination of anchors. And from these, we'll check the geometric DOP metric, and it will select the ones that are acceptable. And we'll check the integrity of these answers, and then we can report the localization result. Okay, so with this component, it should further improve the localization accuracy. For evaluation, we evaluate PMP lock on devices based on the DecaWave DW1000 chips. And here I'm showing the devices we're using. So the anchors are mounted on tripods and they're deployed in the building like this. We do the experiment on 3 different spaces, one in a smaller atrium. This is where most of other localization works. Most of our localization work do experiments on the similar spaces with a similar size. We also do the experiment on a larger library building and an even bigger building. That's the computer science building at Georgia Tech. So here I'm showing the evaluation result for the smaller atrium experiment. So we conduct this mobile experiment with 4 anchors deployed. In this work, we also compared with one existing system. So you can see PMP lock achieves around half meter error at 90th percentile, and so this scatter plot on the left hand shows the PMP lock result with the anchor selection. And from the error CDF, you can clearly see that with anchor selection, the localization result improves drastically. We repeat the similar experiment in a much larger library building with 11 anchors and 3 co-located tags. So all 3 tags showed similar localization result and update rate. So this is demonstrating that having more devices has no effect on the system performance. The 75th percentile localization error is around 70 centimeters. The experiment is again repeated for the larger building. Here again, we observe that anchor selection and filtering reduces the localization error. Also, we observe there's a trade-off between the localization update rate versus localization precision. And so in this experiment, the walking path was over 50 meters, and the 75th percentile localization error is around 1.1 meters. To put these results to context, we compare with state-of-art UWB localization TDOA systems. So we evaluated in the largest area to the best of our knowledge, and we achieve similar error performance compared to others. So for future works, so as I mentioned before, the non-line of sight mitigation and correction methods will be great additions to the system. And so there's one other opportunity with our anchor messaging protocol, because the anchors are performing two-way ranging among themselves. So the anchor network can actually use this information to do auto labeling of anchor locations. So we no longer have to label the location of anchors manually. So this is actually not a trivial task, because so it will require novel methods on graph theory, and there are certain requirements on the network connectivity to ensure a robust auto labeling of anchor locations. And how does our system coexist with other UWB technologies, such as these commercial products, such as the AirTags and the Samsung Smart Tags? And finally, standardization and how we can move this system into commercialization. That's all for my presentation. Thank you very much. I'll take any questions if you have any. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chen. Thank you for your presentation. Any questions from the audience? No questions, so maybe we should move to the next part because we are a little late. Francisco, you have.
Yes, the ranging algorithm that you are proposing, is it does it need the firmware changes to the chip you used, to the DecaWave chip?
Yeah. Thank you very much for the question. No, it does not require any changes to the hardware. So
okay.
Yeah, so we just need to measure the timestamps for all the messages, the transmission timestamp and receiving timestamp, and we can use all these information. So that's all enough for our method.
Okay, thank you.
In your protocol, the user only overhear the signals from the transmitter to the receiver, yes?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, again, thank you. Congratulations to the authors of the 3 excellent papers. Congratulations. Okay, let's move to the next, the based oral presentation. As I have mentioned at the opening ceremony, this year all authors are invited to give a presentation and visit a voting link, which is open to all the registered users. By 1 o'clock Beijing time today, we received many votes. The data shows that the votes of the best oral speaker are very concentrated. Personally, I think it is not surprising because this also left me a very deep impression. I think many people may feel the same way. Now, let me make an announcement of the best presentation of 12th IPIN conference. Is Guan Ran from Huawei. His paper entitled Jinlog, a new paradigm for signal fingerprinting with generative adversary networks. Congratulations to Guan Ran. Dr. Guan, are you online?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
Okay. I will invite Professor Yuan, chair of this conference, to give you the rewards. Can you turn on your camera?
Unfortunately, I can't because this machine doesn't come with a camera.
Okay. Okay. So next, we will invite Dr. Guan to give a presentation.
All right, thank you. Thank you, dear Chair. If I may, can I just say something in Chinese to our audience online to begin with? Since you may not know that with Kouxiang, 雷达学报, and Bilibili and potentially other live streaming platforms, IPIN this year has attracted probably more than a couple of thousand online participants. So mostly from China, I guess. So with your permission, I would like to first say something in Chinese, and then I will try my best to translate them into English. Okay, first of all, can you see my display?
Yes.
Right, okay. 首先就是各位在线上参会的观众，谢谢关注今年的 IPIN 会议。那么在疫情的这个时代呢，能够成功举办这样的学术会议实属不容易。非常感谢主办方和志愿者、合作者和参赛者大家的这个共同的努力。那么 Genlock 这个工作呢，是我们多个部门联合，甚至整个室内定位的这个项目呢，是我们华为整个多个部门联合的一个 teamwork， 是一个协作的一个成果。那么包括黎曼实验室CBG 的这个短距云服务部，还有我们的爱丁堡研究所，在这样一个非常大的一个团队的这个框架下，我们才有今天的一个室内定位的一些小的进展嘛。那当然，我们的很多工作也有很多不完美的地方，但目前呢，就是华为是向所有华为手机用户提供了一个通用的，可以说是通用的一个室内定位的这个服务。那么如果你现在用的是华为手机，有 HMS 和高德地图，那么我建议你们可以到线下的商场去实际测试一下我们的这个定位的这个服务，体验一下我们提供的这个技术带来的一些革新吧。那么由于一些商业和 IP 上的考虑我们在华为开发的很多黑科技没有办法进一步和大家分享，但是呢，我们会继续努力和各位行业内的专家同仁一起继续推进我们在定位和导航方向上的这个技术的发展。Right. So first of all, I would like to thank IPIN organizers because in this pandemic era, it is extremely difficult, if not impossible, to successfully host an international conference like this. So I would like to again thank the organizers, volunteers, paper contributors, and competition participants for our collaborative efforts in bringing IPIN 2022 to all our audiences. This work, Genlock, including this work and also our other systems or developments in indoor positioning, is definitely teamwork from multiple departments and multiple teams within Huawei, including Riemann Laboratory, a consumer business group, short-range connectivity department, cloud service department, and also our research center in Edinburgh. It's a huge team. So due to limitations of IP and IP concerns, what we have developed within Huawei may not be able to be made public or to be shared with all of our audience. But we will keep working very hard indeed with experts and lecturers, researchers from the universities and students within the area to further push the development of positioning and navigation technologies. Okay, right. So I'm going to. It's a great honor for me to accept this award on behalf of Riemann Laboratory, and right now I'm going to start my presentation. Sorry, just a sec. Okay, right. So Genlock, a new paradigm for signal fingerprinting with generative adversarial networks. This paper is a work from Riemann Laboratory, Huawei, a work from my colleagues, Zhang Yun, Dr. Zhang, and Mr. Li Mengchao and I. So earlier this year, Huawei launched the indoor positioning service, starting from the foldable smartphone Mate XS2. And by the end of April 2022, our indoor location service had covered more than 1,300 shopping malls and more than 220 transportation hubs in more than 160 cities in China. Now, if you go to a popular shopping mall with a Huawei, with maybe a latest Huawei phone, it is very likely that you will be able to enjoy fingerprinting based indoor positioning service right away. And the number of supported buildings, areas, and devices are still growing. So during our practice of building such a large-scale indoor positioning service for our customers, we seek better ways to learn from massive amount of fingerprints. Genlock, a new paradigm for signal fingerprinting with generative adversarial networks, is our latest research outcome in this area. To introduce Genlock to our audience, we first begin with the underlying chessboard model. More details can be found in our last IPIN paper, but briefly, we assume the area of interest can be organized as a chessboard with multiple rows and columns. On this chessboard, a smart device can report the RSSI or the received signal strength measurements from different Wi-Fi access points. So to position, we need a radial map of the chessboard that describes how signal propagates at each grid. So there are many existing solutions to this Wi-Fi fingerprinting problem. Firstly, we have approaches based on log distance path loss model, or LDPL for short. And then the distance to loss model maps an absolute signal space measurement, could be RSSI or signal attenuation or CSI to a physical distance. However, the model is monotonous for indoor scenarios where attenuation or other signal measurements is not just affected by the distance, but also many other factors that are not described by the model. So a learned log distance path loss model can hardly be reused in another building without any extra fitting. Alternatively, many used K nearest neighbor or KNN for positioning directly. From the learning perspective, KNN essentially has to memorize all raw fingerprints and learns no transferable knowledge. And in the end, we have Gaussian process or GP-based approaches. GP optimizes the hyperparameters to its kernel to learn the correlation between nearby fingerprints. And GP generally outperforms KNN and log distance path loss model. And also there are ways to transfer what's being learned in one building to another via GP. But that does not help much in the positioning performance we found. So these approaches only learn in-domain knowledge that is specific to an AP and an area. So we seek an approach that can be transferred to a new domain. And by domain, we mean the scope of the data used for learning. Specifically, it means an access point in a building. In-domain fingerprints refer to fingerprints from the same AP and the same area, where out-of-domain fingerprints refer to the fingerprints that are from other APs and potentially other areas or buildings. And of course, we use the generative networks. But before that, I include a couple of more extra slides to show some of the related works, because we're not the first to introduce generative models into wireless signal analysis. So the essential problem is, can we generate wireless signals via networks? So for example, this one caught our attention back in 2020, sparsely self-supervised generative adversarial nets for radio frequency estimation. It's about using GPS signals to as the ground truth location tag to predict cellular radio maps. And also they use the forest grid map as a conditional input. And then again, we have seen a lot of work focusing on indoor applications as well. For example, AF DC GAN. This work, I guess it was the first one to introduce GAN into CSI or channel states information of the Wi-Fi signal. The first one to introduce GAN to generate CSI signals in indoor environments. And then also this one is an interesting work that generates the ISSI radio map with the inputs of the layout of the building. And then the layout input was kind of generated by taking a picture. And then finally, this one, GS MAC. This paper was published on Transaction on Mobile Computing. Was a typical GAN work that generate ISSI signals within indoor areas, and then with reinforcement learning to predict or to recommend a survey point with active crowdsourcing. So we have done similar things. Our earlier attempt was using VAE, variational autoencoder, to generate radio maps, and we tried with a massive amount of fingerprints collected from Shenzhen Bao'an Airport, as you can see on the left-hand side. So you see it's very dense, densely surveyed fingerprints. And then we try to use VAE to generate the radio map. And then, as you can see, as the training goes on, we have smoother generation, smoother generated radio maps. But we are, of course, not satisfied with this kind of generation. So every day we are accumulating more and more fingerprints across buildings, shopping malls in China. So we see the opportunity to learn sort of transferable knowledge from our growing data sets of fingerprints across multiple domains, especially. So we asked ourselves these two questions. What else can we learn? Can we learn transferable knowledge from a huge set of fingerprints that are not within the area of interest? That is to say, if I collected fingerprints in Shanghai, can they help the positioning, fingerprinting-based positioning in Beijing or other cities? And also, can we learn how surroundings affect radio propagation? That is to say, how the wall is going to affect signal propagation. And Genlog is our latest answer to these questions, and actually a very confirmative answer. And the essential idea of Genlog is quite simple. We treat the radio map generation problem as an image generation problem. Before, we would like to estimate the distributions from every grid of the chessboard. Right now with Genlog, we would like to generate a pixel for every grid instead. So in image generation, we may take low resolution, masked, cropped images as the input and expect a clear, complete, and high resolution image as the output. But in our case, we take raw fingerprints surveyed from arbitrary positions as the input and expect a complete and accurate radio map covering all grids of the area. Furthermore, we also introduce conditional generation to fingerprinting. In image generation, the generation can be conditioned or tuned by extra inputs. Sometimes the extra inputs may be from other modalities, such as descriptive text. And in our case, we make use of electronic floor plans to tune the generation of radio maps. Intuitively, images have higher level of non-linearity, yet generative adversarial networks do a good job in generating realistic images. In contrast, Wi-Fi signals is relatively monotonous and more continuous. Therefore, we thought we had a great chance applying generative adversarial networks to fingerprinting. And Genlog introduces a typical generative adversarial network structure where it includes two stages, a learning or training stage and a generation or inference stage. However, what makes Genlog different from existing generative work. Generative wireless work is that we use out-of-domain data in the learning stage. As for the network, we largely follows the pix-to-pix design, where both the generator and the discriminator are implemented with UNets. And in a nutshell, the generator network learns to produce radio maps that are as similar as the GP-produced radio maps, while the discriminator learns to determine if the generated radio map is real or fake. Both networks are optimized in the so-called minimax game playing. And notice in the training stage, we only use out-of-domain data. In other words, only fingerprints collected from other buildings and other APs are used. And when the network is trained, we use in-domain fingerprints for radio maps generation for new buildings. With Genlog, we want more than just style transfer, but also grid level generation. Therefore, we form paired connections between 3 types of data: the raw fingerprints as the inputs to the network, and then the GP radio map as the ground truth of the network, and finally the floor plan image as the conditional input. We assume that if an area is well surveyed or covered by dense fingerprints, then the GP generated radio map can be considered as the real image or ground truth supervision input to the Genlog. Some may wonder, what is the network learning here? Isn't it the GP results that the network is trying to learn? If that is the case, Genlog will never outperform GP in theory. It is true that we are learning from the output of GP, but with significantly deteriorated inputs. That is done via the data augmentation pipeline we designed for Genlog. First, we crop the GP-generated radio maps into small patches. We did the same to raw fingerprint input. It is extremely difficult to recover the radio map from the cropped fingerprints input image with the quality of the cropped GP radio map. This forces Genlog to learn beyond the area surveyed. And then in turn, we specify the cropped fingerprints inputs, discarding around 90% of the fingerprints. While the paired GP-generated radio map is still the cropped version, this again forces Genlog to predict a full radio map even with fewer fingerprints. And in the end, we rotate both copies of the specified and unspecified pairs by the same random angle. By doing so, or by doing the entire data augmentation pipeline, we can have many more copies of the original data. But most importantly, it provides a more challenging learning targets for Genlog. So Genlog is not just learning from GP, but also with the inputs, with the deteriorated input, we are trying to make Genlog approximate the GP results. And here shows an example of the outputs of the conditional Genlog for each epoch. As can be seen, the predicted radio map was originally rather random from epoch 1, and then becomes smoother as the training progresses. Right, then here's a small quiz for our audience. So with the same fingerprint inputs, we generated 3 different radio maps based on different floor plans from the bottom row. The actual floor plan, the walls only floor plan, and then finally the free space floor plan. Generated radio maps on the top row share the same color scale to the right. And the lighter the color, the weaker the ISSI represents. So the quiz is, can you tell which radio map is generated by which floor plan from the bottom row? Of course, you can find the answers in our paper, but I think it should be rather obvious to tell the answer, so I'm not going to reveal the answer here. But this can be seen as a qualitative evaluation that Genlog implicitly learned how the floor plan affects signal. In addition to that, we also run traditional positioning-based evaluation. We run tests across 4 top-notch shopping malls across China with Genlock in 3 different configurations: the vanilla Genlock, the conditional Genlock with the actual floor plan, and finally the conditional Genlock with the free space floor plan. And in summary, the Genlock family in general is more generic and outperforms KN and GP in positioning accuracy. And specifically, conditional Genlock with the actual floor plan is the best among all and provides a minimum improvement of 50%, that is 0.6 and 76 meters in mean accuracy in New Daimalu, Shanghai. So if you're familiar with fingerprinting, you know this number is this level of positioning accuracy is actually quite high, and we are very satisfied by the performance improved by Genlock. We attribute the success of Genlock to the learning mindset we hold while designing Genlock. To learn better, we need an efficient learning framework, and we need to learn from more data. In terms of both data quality and quantity, and also the categories of data. Previous methods only learn from in-domain data, and Genlock shows the possibility to learn generic and transferable knowledge from a massive amount of out-of-domain data. Additionally, the floor plan is one major factor in signal propagation. While modeling floor plan directly in propagational model is not trivial, Genlock successfully fuses floor plan in the generation as well. Before Genlock, reference fingerprints in most cases are only used once in in-domain radial map-based learning. Now that with Genlock, fingerprints now can contribute every time a new area sets up a fingerprinting-based indoor positioning service. In other words, every collected fingerprint now counts. Fingerprints collected from other buildings contribute to future buildings. Although Genlock is still in early development phase, with its advantages in accuracy, generalizability, and map building speed, we see Genlock as a new signal fingerprinting paradigm that is highly potential for deploying massive scale multi-building indoor positioning services. And that is the end of the presentation. Questions and comments are always welcome.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Dr. Guan. I'm sorry, I don't think we have enough time for questions and answers. So,
all right, thank you.
Again, thank you and congratulations to all the winners. That's all for this part. Let's move to the last part of this conference, the closing ceremony. We sincerely invite Professor Yuan to chair this session. Okay.
Okay. Many thanks to GPC Chair Wei Dongyan. Okay. Now we come to the conference closing ceremony. Good afternoon, everyone. Our 3 days IPIN 2022 conference is about to officially come to an end. Here, I would like to thank all the staffs, the volunteers, and the TPC members and the steering committee members. Many thanks to our sponsors for their generous support. And I would also like to thank all the authors of the papers for their active online participation. It's all your efforts that have brought this conference to a successful conclusion. I'm honored to host this conference. And make this conference a successful one with all of you. I'm also very pleased to see brilliant talent meet here online, and a lot of great ideas sparkled here. I believe that all the attendants will get great achievement in their following research works. I hope this 3 days online conference could leave you a very good memory. Thank you. For next, I would like to invite Professor Anthony Navarro to give a speech. Navarro, are you online? Professor Anthony?
Yes, I am.
Okay, please give a speech. Thank you.
Yes, I'm here. I would like to congratulate to all the IPIN 2022 organizers for organizing such a wonderful event. But there's something that I would like to highlight, that you have to face the pandemic in 2020. And now in 2022, you have to make the decision to move online. Then it has been a double challenge, and you have the courage to take the decisions every moment and to move on and to organize such a wonderful event. So for me, it has been a great pleasure and an honor to collaborate with you all when you needed me. So thank you very much, and my most sincere congratulations for the event.
Anthony, for the next event, I would like to invite Liliano Moreira from the Senior Committee to give a speech and show videos. Moreira, are you?
Yes, I am online.
It's your time now. Okay.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just in case, because we were not, we were afraid there were some problems with the internet connections, the steering committee prepared a video with some words to the IPIN participants. And I will ask you to play that video in a few seconds. Before that, and since I'm online now, I would like to thank all the members of the organizing committee in China, in Beijing, for this great effort in organizing this conference. I'm sure it was very difficult to keep changing the plans and adapting to the pandemic situation. But in the end, I think the result was a great conference, and with very good presentations, very good work from our community. So thank you very much for all your effort in putting forward this great conference, and for all the members of this community. I hope to see you all next year in Germany. I think we will also hear something more IPIN 2023 in this closing session. And I now ask you please to play the video that we prepared in advance. Thank you very much, and hope to see you all next year face to face.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. For the last event, video.
My name is Rainer Mautz. I'm the founder of IPIN. I organized the first conference indoor positioning and indoor navigation in 2010 at 88 Zurich, Switzerland. Another 10 successful conferences were held all over the world, but I'm very proud that we have now, in 2022, the 12th edition of IPIN in China.
Good afternoon. I am Adriano Moreira from the University of Minho in Portugal, and also the chair of the IPIN steering committee. The conference that is now about to finish proves how IPIN is resilient. Even with all the difficulties imposed by the pandemic, the community managed to run IPIN 2021 last year and now IPIN 2022. This is the result of the efforts of many, many people. And I would like to recognize the huge effort from this year's organizers, especially conference co-chairs Professor Hong Yang and Anthony Perez, as well as the chair Dong Yang. Thank you very much for all your work. Next year, I hope we'll all be able to meet face-to-face in Nuremberg, Germany for IPIN 2023. Until then, I wish you all the best for your research work. See you next year. Bye-bye.
Dear colleagues, my name is Binghao Li, a member of IPIN Steering Committee. IPIN is an international conference focusing on indoor navigation. According to Google Scholar, under category of engineering and computer science, radar, positioning, and navigation, IPIN is ranked number 6, including all the conferences and journals. If only conferences are considered, IPIN is ranked number 2 after IEEE Radar Conference. Core 2021 conference ranking also ranked IPIN as the Category C conference. Congratulations to Dr. Yuan, Dr. Wei, and the team for great IPIN 2022. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kyle Keefer, University of Calgary, and I've worked in indoor positioning for over 20 years. I was very excited to be invited to join the IPIN community in 2013, and I helped host the 2015 IPIN meeting in Banff, Alberta, Canada. We should be very proud of our conference and our community. I would like to point out 2 things about the impact of the IPIN conference series. The first, it is top ranked in its category. On Google Scholar, for example, it is the top ranked conference. And if you have a look at this list, you'll notice that we are in some very excellent company with some of the top journals in the area. The next highest ranked conference is a very popular venue for outdoor positioning research. The second thing that I would point out is that we've been able to have this impact while remaining relatively small. That next strength conference typically has 3 or sometimes even 4 times as many papers in any given year. And in our case, we weren't even able to run our conference one time in the last 5 years. I think it says a lot about the quality of the work being presented by the IPIN community and of our conference. Thank you.
My name is Jesús Uribia. I am from the University of Alcalá, Spain. First of all, I would like to thank and congratulate all the people who contributed to the organization of IPIN in the program committee. I was in touch with my colleague Adriano Moreira. This year, the TPC was managed following the same rules as in previous edition. We used a procedure based on invitation, including in the list people who gave a positive answer and excluding those who responded negatively for 2 consecutive years. This year, we sent the invitation to this premium member and to others proposed by other TPC members or by the local organizers. Obviously, we have an increase in the number of changing members. We hope we can consolidate for future editions.
I am Masanori Sugimoto, Hokkaido University, Japan. As you know, indoor positioning systems have huge impacts on human activities and are expected to grow into a big market. Thus, collaboration between researchers, developers, and practitioners are critical. Several regarding this are going on in our committee, please check IPIN website for details. Suggestions.
For 2 years, with Francesco Potorti, we've been working toward launching a new journal for the IPIN community. There was nothing there for publishing in the field, but this will change since the Indoor and Seamless Positioning and Navigation journal is an open access journal edited by IEEE that will welcome new original research in the field starting this fall with the first publication beginning of January. And I will be happy to serve as editor-in-chief for the first 3 years with the help of Francesco as associate editor. So please support us in this great adventure, support the IPIN community and the steering board activity, and publish your greatest amazing research in this new open access journal. Thanks.
I am Francesco Potorti. I work in Pisa, and I have chaired most of the IPIN competitions since their beginning in 2014. IPIN competitions are not technically the oldest or the widest of indoor competitions. Editors compute the place where they are. Starting in 2021, the offsite competitions use an API which forces time and total behavior exactly as on-site competitions do. That is, they emulate the situations that can see in an on-site competition, in a real-time competition. This way, from an algorithmic point of view, the becomes as difficult as the on-site one. And we can see that from the results that are now nearer to what you can expect in a real-life competition. So come to the IPIN session about the competition and see what are the details of this story.
Hello, I am Antoni Pérez Navarro. I was the chair of IPIN 2021. I'm here, first of all, to thank organizers of IPIN 2022 for taking the challenge of organizing the event in such challenging times. Next year, we will meet again in IPIN 2023 in Nuremberg, in Germany. But what about the future? Where will we meet after 2023? Do you want to see the name of your city here? You only need to do 3 easy steps. First of all, find a city easy to get to. You have to find a space where you can put together around 200 or 300 people. And last but not least, write to the steering committee. We wait for your candidacies for organizing meeting after 2023. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think it's hardly we can hardly imagine without the support from the members of steering committee, we can have a successful IPN 2022 conference. So I want to express my deep acknowledgement to the steering committee. Thank you. For the last event, okay, according to the decision from the steering committee, the IPIN 2023 will be held in Nuremberg, Germany next year. So I want to invite Professor Christoph Marcella give a speech, give his presentation. Are you online, Professor?
I'm online. Thank you. Thank you, Hong, for the introduction. We have prepared a video. Can we do that first?
Okay, no problem.
We are very happy to host IPIN 2023 here in Nuremberg, Germany, and we warmly welcome you at Fraunhofer IIS.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So I also have prepared a few slides. Can I do a screen sharing? Yes, it should work. So can you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay, we can see you.
Okay, great. Okay, so as already been said, we are happy to host IPIN 2023 in Nuremberg, Germany. We will do that together with support of Estefania Munoz Diaz and Susanna Kaiser from the German Aerospace Center, and with Stefan Knaut from the University of Applied Science in Stuttgart. You already have seen some attractions and tourist attractions here in Germany. So what I wanted to say to you, what impression I wanted to say to you, that Nuremberg is a really, really nice city. So if you plan to come, and we hope all of you come next year to Nuremberg in presence, you will also have to see a lot of attractions that we have from medieval times in Nuremberg. So we have a lot of historical churches, and we have a nice castle here in Germany that we also plan to visit together with you. But if you have some time before or after the conference, feel free to take some time off and visit the tourist attractions from Nuremberg. You can easily also arrive to IPIN. So we have an airport here in Nuremberg, so you can reach IPIN through the international airport directly. So we have direct connections to major European cities. And we also have a connection to international airports that are connected to all over the world, which is mainly Frankfurt and Munich, over which you can reach Nuremberg either through a connecting flight or by train. If you use the train, then Frankfurt is the better way to approach Nuremberg. Or you can also go and visit us by train. So Nuremberg has a big train station that you can actually also directly connect to via high-speed trains from at least from within Germany and also from neighboring countries. Or if you like driving a nice car, you can also try to reach us by the Autobahn. So there is a direct exit to Nuremberg in the nearby area from us. So if you plan to arrive by car, you can also do that easily. We also have some more information of how to arrive at IPIN here on our website. Some more information about Nuremberg that has not been provided in the video, which is, by the way, also made available on the website in a few days. So Nuremberg is the second biggest city here in Bavaria. So we have around 500,000 people, and we have also a metropolitan area, which is a bit larger, but it's also like spanning a large space here in Bavaria. In my opinion, and it's very objective opinion, of course, it's the most beautiful city in Bavaria, and probably in Germany as well. We have a very nice inner city, and we have a unique culture with a medieval history that you can also like feel if you walk through Nuremberg. And we have a worldwide famous Christmas fair, which is unfortunately not during IPIN 2023. There's also some additional facts that I want to share. So Nuremberg also used to have a competitive football club, which is not the case anymore like this. So if you meet and encounter people in Nuremberg, please tell them that they have a great football club, because they have a real inner pain that their football club is not as good anymore. And of course, we are still in September next year, so we also used to have nice weather, and in particular during IPIN 2023. I have also a little more information about our conference venue. So Fraunhofer IIS in Nuremberg is mainly composed of 3 main buildings. This is the building you have saw in the video. We have a large measurement infrastructure, which will also be part of the conference. We will hopefully use it as a poster session room and also for some competition. And we have a new building that's currently in its final phases of building, which is directly connected to our building. We have several meeting rooms and conference rooms that we will use for the conference, and we have a foyer and a hall that we will also make use of for social interaction, poster sessions, and exhibitions. Also for the on-site competition, which we also already heard a lot today, we have a large history, and we also have to evaluate some options for on-site competitions. We have very interesting places here in Germany. We have a new museum which is actually dedicated towards future. We have also medieval dungeons, which is we will need to evaluate it, but maybe not everyone is feeling comfortable down there. We have large museums for industrial culture, and we have, of course, our measurement infrastructure, which we can do something with it. We will also have a social dinner, which is like nicely connected inside an infrastructure with nice old-timer cars. So if you're interested in old cars and classic cars, you will feel very happy being there. And now the most important information to the most of you, what's the tentative deadlines, what's the dates that we currently have in mind. So the most important thing is that the conference will be from September 25th through September 28th. So we plan a 4-day event. And as usually, the competition takes place the 2 days before the conference starts. We also have already set up tentative dates for the respective deadlines. So we have a special session proposal deadline and a tutorial proposal deadline, which will be around April 2023. We plan to have the paper submission deadlines as similar in the previous years around May 2023, and we plan to have the paper acceptance deadline in June 21st. The conference we plan to include keynotes, tutorials, industrial expeditions, and of course, as we all wish, we plan it to be in presence, at least we hope so. So I would like to thank also the co-organizers to support us, in the conference. I cannot list everyone here, but if you have any questions, you can also find them on our tentative conference committee page that you can access through the link below. And at this point, I can only say I'm very much looking forward to the conference next year and to see all of you in presence. And we warmly welcome you in Nuremberg. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Matrola. Okay, that's all the scheduled event for the closing ceremony. Okay, now I'm honored to announce the IPIN 2022 is successfully closed. 谢谢 Thank you. 明年德国纽伦堡见 See you in Nuremberg, Germany next year. 再见
See you next year.
See you next year. See you.
See you next year.
See you next year.
Thanks all
See you next year.
Bye.
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 See you all next
Thank you.
year.
See you.
And thank you to everyone.
Yeah, thanks for the organization. Amazing job, you guys in China.
Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.